This is Scotty and Andrew, and you're listening to Fun with Horror.
Hello, beautiful dreamers out there. This is the Fun with Horror podcast, your weekly movie review podcast in which my buddy Andrew and I take turns picking movies to watch, and then we discuss them the following week. We have two rules. Whoever chooses the movie has to choose a movie they've never seen, and number two, we both have to watch the movie before we discuss it. We have reached the final episode of our Candyman series. So that means last week I picked Candyman from 2021, the newest entry in the series.
Yeah.
But that also means that at the end of this episode, Andrew is going to pick a movie, and it's not going to have anything to do with Candyman. So I'm pretty curious as to what you're going to pick, my friend.
Yeah, dude. I know. I think you'll appreciate it.
I know I will.
Aww.
It's a horror movie, and I love horror movies.
That's true.
So
That's
I'm going to
true.
love it. I don't know that I'll love the movie, but I'm going to love your pick. How about that?
You're so sweet.
But let me talk about something that I don't love.
Oh, okay.
This is something I was having a conversation by text with a friend, and we were talking about Scream Factory / Shout Factory Blu-rays.
Yeah.
And also Criterion Collection.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a bone to pick with both of those distributors.
Okay. Interesting.
So you know that I have an Apple TV.
Yes.
And my movie collection, which used to be all Blu-rays, is now a very expansive digital movie collection.
Yes, it is.
Which I have given you access to.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. The thing is, like, iTunes is great for having movies and having a lot of the bonus features that are on the Blu-rays actually on the digital versions of the movies as well.
Right. Absolutely.
But then you have some companies. Criterion Collection is one. Shout Factory, Scream Factory is another. And they have these wonderful Blu-ray editions with all these bonus features. And, these are great, right? The Criterion Collection, they're great. But then these movies that are also on iTunes do not come with all those bonus features.
Huh. Right.
In fact, there are actually, you can buy Criterion Collection versions of some of their movies, but none of the extras are on there. Now,
that's weird.
It is weird, but it's a business thing. With Criterion, I'm going to say I can understand a little bit because they have their own streaming channel.
Oh.
I don't know that Shout Factory has their own screening channel. And the thing is, for somebody like me, man, I wish so badly that all those bonus features that are on the Scream Factory and Shout Factory Blu-rays would come on the iTunes digital copies as well, because I would buy them in a second.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't buy that many Blu-rays. I've been buying a few mainly just for our podcast. But, Criterion and Shout Factory, they would get more of my money if they allowed all these bonus features.
Yeah,
on
absolutely.
the digital versions. And that's all I'm saying. That's my little bone to pick.
No, I get that. I totally agree. It's surprising that they don't, because it is, from a business standpoint, I feel like you're going to make money either way, and you might even make more by having this option. So it seems silly that they wouldn't just allow both Blu-ray, and digital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to have to look into this because Shout Factory does have Shout Factory TV.
Oh.
But I don't know if it's the same as Criterion. Now, with Criterion, the Criterion channel
Uh-huh.
A lot of their movies are available on their streaming channel. But it's also like Netflix, movies come and go.
Right.
But
Right.
those movies do have the bonus features. You can watch all the bonus features on the Criterion channel.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool, and I get why would they allow their bonus features on the iTunes purchasable movies
Right.
when they want people to subscribe to their channel.
That makes sense. I get that.
Personally, I subscribe to their channel once in a while. I'll do it for like a month or two, and then I realize I'm not really getting my money's worth because I don't have time to watch a lot. And then I unsubscribe.
Yeah.
But man, if their movies were available with bonus features on iTunes, I'd buy the crap out of them.
Yeah, dude. I say when we post this, you're gonna have to
Tag them?
Yeah, tag them, at them, or whatever. See if
And they'll be like, well, hey, that Fun with Horror podcast, they told us. I guess we better start doing it.
stop the presses. Start over.
Maybe someday when we're like super famous, the top podcast in the world, maybe then they'll go back to this episode and they'll be like, they had a point.
Yep.
Those two guys.
Well, hopefully they do hear it and something has changed, because I agree with you. I think that should be implemented as soon as possible, because I think it's a good idea. Put it on the streaming service, or on the digital copies.
Absolutely.
Yep. I'm with you, man.
Thank you.
Candyman. The urban legend is, if you say his name 5 times while looking in the mirror, he appears in the reflection and kills you.
Who would do that?
Well, Scotty, as you mentioned in our intro, this is our final Candyman movie after a month of Candyman.
A month of Candyman.
A month of Candyman, which was, God, what a treat. This was a lot of fun this whole month, and
It's kind of sad that there's not 5 Candyman movies so that we could, Candyman 5 times,
Oh, good. I didn't even think of that. That would be awesome.
But that's okay, because then we'd die.
That's true. We would die, and we're only on our 27th episode of our podcast.
Yeah. We have so much more to do.
We have so much more to do and give. But I like I said, though, for real, this was a lot of fun just doing a series, and like you mentioned, it just worked out the only way it could, by having me pick the first one.
Yes, perfect.
And it ended beautifully with you picking this new one, which both you and I were excited about. I think you were more excited, I feel like, than I was. I was excited for it, but after watching these, it hyped it up for me. So I know for sure, and so I know we were both excited. But now we get to hear the answer. We get to hear your thought of Candyman 2021. So Scotty, what did you think of Candyman 2021?
All right. Well, as you know, during our year-end episode,
yes,
when we talked about movies that came out in 2021 that we were looking forward to seeing in 2022, I said that this was the one I was looking forward to seeing the most.
Yeah.
And at that time, I didn't even think of Last Night in Soho, which I was also very much looking forward to seeing.
Totally.
So now I have seen this. I have seen Candyman 2021.
Yes.
And I'm going to say,
okay,
as a bold statement, that this is destined to be one of my favorite horror movies of all time.
Yes. Yes.
I just absolutely adored this movie. This was such a work of art. I can't say enough good things. I'm shocked. I actually have the IMDb page open right now. And it's got a 5.9 out of 10 rating, and I am just shocked. Because this movie was near perfect.
Dude.
To me, at least.
Love it.
By your reaction, I'm assuming that you thought the same.
I had the exact same thought. I thought to myself, if we were to do another top 10 horror movies, this would be in it. For sure. This movie was...
Most likely it would be in it, but
yeah, that's
like any movie, for me, I have to let a movie sit for a while.
fair.
Like, that's my immediate reaction. I think it was like, 2019. When did Halloween, the remake, come out?
2018. The first
2018.
one. 2018. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in 2018, there was a couple movies that came out around that period that I really, really loved, and I was like, oh, man, these are going to be in my top 20
Right, yeah.
of all time. And I still love them. I still think they're great movies. But, over time, I don't know if they'd actually make it into my top 20 of all time.
Yep, that's
and
fair.
it's the same thing with this. I actually feel stronger about this. A lot of times I watch whatever movie that we're doing, I watch it a couple times, as you know.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And the second time I watch it, it's kind of like, it's fun, but it's work at the same time.
Yep.
I could not wait to watch this a second time. And I almost felt sad that I had to take notes the second time because I just wanted to absorb it again.
Dude, that's beautiful. I want you to know, too, I watched it twice. Like you did.
I know you did. I know you did. You can't help but watch this movie more than once because it was that good.
Yeah.
So normally we start with, okay, let me just go out there and say, is there anything you didn't care for about the movie? Anything?
Well, before we do that, let's do our quick spoiler warning.
Yes. So everybody out there, as always,
yes,
we are about to talk about Candyman 2021, which means we are going to spoil it.
Yes.
So this is your final turning back point. We are probably also going to spoil the original Candyman.
Yeah.
Not too much Candyman 2 and 3. So if you haven't seen those two, you're probably safe.
Right.
But if we start to spoil something from either of those, then we'll say something, but I doubt we will. But yeah, Candyman and Candyman, we're going to spoil.
Yes.
Anyway, Andrew.
Yeah.
I'm going to say...
Mm-hmm.
I actually, last night I was thinking, was there anything I didn't care for in this movie? Anything I can bring up at this moment?
Right.
And there's not.
Ooh.
Like, at this point in time, there's not a single thing that I can think of in this movie that I didn't like.
Fair. That's awesome.
I liked everything about it.
Yeah.
What about you? Is there anything at all?
So if you looked at my list right now, under likes, there's a lot of bullet points. If you look at my dislikes, I have one thing, and it's not even a dislike, it's more a question.
Which, okay, that's good. Before you ask me that question, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because I had a couple questions after the first time I saw it too.
Ooh, okay.
But they were both answered the second time I watched it.
Oh, okay.
And they were answered in a way, because I believe a lot of this movie is left up to interpretation.
Yes, absolutely.
So that said, go ahead. What was your question?
And I feel like it was answered, and even Cindy watched it with me and really liked this one as well. But she had a good answer too. But my question is, and again, I think I know it, but I feel like I didn't catch it if they explained it. Why in the first movie, in the original 1994 Candyman, why didn't Helen see Sherman, since he had been the most recent Candyman? Why did she see Tony Todd's Candyman? Was it because of love?
I had the same thought.
Okay,
that was my question too. And so now I'm going to get into, that's going to lead me into what I liked about the movie.
Perfect. Love it.
Because, as I said, a lot of this movie is left up to interpretation. But you also, if you listen and pay attention to little bits of dialogue, they kind of do answer it for you. And, as we know, in this movie, it deals more with the Sherman Fields aspect of Candyman, who was a guy at Cabrini Green in 1977, I believe.
Yes.
And he was wrongfully killed by the police because they thought he was giving children candy with razor blades in it.
Yeah.
And then it turns out that there was candy with razor blades still going around after they killed him, and so it wasn't him at all. So when Burke, the laundromat guy,
Yes. Yep.
is talking to Yahya, who plays Anthony McCoy,
Mm-hmm.
Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, who was freaking amazing.
Phenomenal in this.
Everybody was. That
Yeah.
was another point. Everybody, all the acting was just top notch.
Absolutely. Agreed.
So when he's telling the story of Sherman Fields, the first thing he says
Mm-hmm.
is, "For me, Candyman was Sherman Fields."
I remember that. Yeah.
So that leads me to believe that it doesn't matter like what time period it is. Whoever you see the Candyman to be is who's going to appear.
Interesting. I like that. Yeah. Okay.
So at that time, Helen was researching Robitaille, Daniel Robitaille,
Right.
Tony Todd's Candyman. And so the stories she was hearing were about him, and that's who everybody was seeing at that time, because that was the story that was going around.
Oh, I love
the original
that.
Candyman. But during this movie, everybody's talking about Sherman Fields. That's the Candyman that Anthony McCoy hears about, and he tells the story of. So that's who everybody sees.
Dude, I have like
So-
goosebumps. I love that.
It's amazing,
that's
and
so
Candyman can
good.
change, and that's why at the end, and yeah, remember our spoiler warning, because here goes the end.
Yep.
Brianna, she calls to Candyman,
Right.
which this was my only question,
Oh, okay. Yes.
because even the second time I realized when she says his name in the mirror, she
Mhm.
only says it 4 times. So I don't know if there's a previous time she said Candyman that
There
counts.
is.
Okay, I guess that counts then, right?
It's right when she starts saying it, and he throws the brick at the mirror and says, "Don't do it."
Okay, so I guess that's the first Candyman.
Yeah. So
Got it. Got
I'll
it.
count that. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, she calls him, and it's Anthony, because Anthony was just killed by the police. Just
Right.
murdered by the
Yes.
police. And so he's the one that appears. But as he's walking along the car, in the reflection, you see all the different figures that
Yes.
or faces that Candyman took.
Right.
You know? And
Yeah.
then at the very end, I squealed with delight. I was just when Tony Todd's face appears behind the bees
So good.
and says, "Tell everyone."
Oh, so good, dude.
So yeah, I just loved it.
Me too. And it's for me, like I said, that was my only question. It wasn't even a dislike. It was just a, can you explain it? The rest on my list, it's praising this movie, like it sounds
The
like yours is.
The only other question that I asked
Yeah.
after the first time that I was just thinking about, and it was kind of a nitpicky question, but then at the same time it is kind of answered, was why are there still bees if Candyman is a different person that had nothing to do, whose death had nothing to do with bees? But my
That's fair.
interpretation is just because Daniel Robitaille is the origin of Candyman, the bees will always be a part of Candyman.
That works. Yep.
As will the hook,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Well, yeah, that makes sense. I like that. I like that idea.
So let's just preen all over this movie and just give it the highest praise in the world.
For real.
All the stuff we loved about it.
I'm still baffled and sad that it's only a 5.9 on IMDb. I mean, this movie's fantastic. I'm baffled.
I feel like I wonder if people were disappointed that it wasn't Tony Todd's Candyman.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
maybe people felt like they changed the origin of Candyman to make him the Sherman Fields Candyman, and that was a disappointment to them.
Yeah. Or maybe they thought it was just going to be a full-blown remake. Maybe. I don't know.
Which it was a spiritual sequel, is
Right.
what they call it.
Yep.
I mean, the first thing that I loved about the movie was
yeah.
the opening, the opening titles.
Yes.
Even before we see the origin of Sherman Fields, like the little the laundry room thing. Just how there was a mirror image of all the different distributors and stuff, and all the movie studios that
So
worked on this movie. Yeah, and then the opening credits with kind of the backwards view of the tops of buildings in Chicago was unbelievably good.
Yeah.
The cinematography in this movie was so incredible.
Totally agree.
And that started right there. So I think his name is John Gulasarian, and forgive me if I'm saying his name wrong, but that's the cinematographer. And my lord, he was so good.
He was fantastic. That shot of Anthony standing in the middle of the
Green.
street.
Yeah,
That's a poster. I mean, that was so beautiful, that shot of him just standing there. It was perfect. It was perfect.
yeah. I think, yeah, that stands out to me too.
Mm-hmm.
But when I think about this movie, I think almost every shot in the movie
Mm-hmm.
is just a beautifully done, beautifully composed shot.
Yeah. Yep.
Like you could pause this movie almost anywhere and just be in awe of how beautiful the lighting and the color and the composition of all these shots were. It was unbelievable, man.
Totally agree. You're absolutely right.
And then that also leads us, because the first thing we hear is Robert Aiki Aubrey Lowe's musical score,
Yes.
which was just we've talked about it, you and I. And I was very curious. I purposely didn't listen to too much of it. And before I saw the movie, I only listened to enough to hear the opening themes and then his recomposition. I don't know the word here. His reorchestration of the music box theme.
Yes. Oh my
Which I love that he used it
Me too.
in the story of Helen, and then I think at the end again he used it again.
Yeah.
Really, I haven't listened to the entire score recorded yet, but it's on my music queue, and
Nice.
and of course, Waxwork Records is doing the soundtrack, and I went online that night and pre-ordered it
Nice.
because their final version of it doesn't come out till March.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, I had to have that one. It's so good.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Well, not only, I mean, the music, but then also throughout the movie, it just, you have like a hum a lot of times in the background that just gives you that uneasy feeling, but it's still the music. Man, I don't know.
It sounds like a deep cello or something.
Yes, exactly. And it just makes it uneasy.
Did you watch the bonus feature that came with the movie about his score?
No.
Did you?
No, I didn't.
Andrew.
I'm sorry. I did watch. I watched two other things, but I totally forgot about the score.
Oh yeah, you should have. It's so good. He used his voice a lot with the score.
Oh, cool.
But he also recorded. He went to Cabrini Green itself and recorded sounds like tones inside the buildings.
Oh, cool.
And he actually used those sounds inside the score.
Dude, that's cool.
Yeah, it's definitely maybe the best score of last year.
Yeah.
Period.
Agreed.
So, let's talk about Candyman himself and the deaths and the kills, which, see, this is the thing. I honestly, Candyman 92 is a classic horror movie from the 90s.
Right.
One of the best.
Absolutely.
I honestly feel like this movie elevated that.
Oh, agreed. Absolutely.
Like, it took a great movie and elevated it even higher than it already was.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I think they did the kills perfectly.
Yes, agreed.
And the summoning of Candyman, I love that he never really was there
Yeah.
in
Yes.
physical reality, but you could see him in any reflection.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. The first time Anthony calls Candyman in the reflection of their window.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's no Candyman, so they start like kind of cuddling and kissing, and then you see Candyman standing in the reflection.
Yes.
Oh,
It was
so
awesome.
good.
And it was.
I love things like that.
And you know what's funny is Cindy didn't catch it. Like, it was
See?
subtle enough. And
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, did you see that?" And she's like, "What?" And then I rewound it because I was like, "You got to see it." And I paused it, and she's like, "I still don't see him." So I had to get up and point on the screen, like head, shoulders, and she's like, "Oh, there he is." I was
Yeah,
like,
it's-
yes.
It's definitely there,
Mm-hmm.
and but it's subtle.
Yeah.
And I love it when movies do that.
Me too. Yes.
Like, I remember The Descent.
Oh, God, yeah.
There's a scene when they're in the caves early on before you see the creatures, and there's a moment where the creature is up in like near the roof of the cave,
Mm-hmm.
but it's so subtle that it's easy to miss.
Yep.
But if you catch it, you're just seriously creeped out.
Yeah.
And I felt like this Candyman did the same thing.
Totally. I agree with you 100%. Yes.
And then the museum death scene,
Yes. Oh my
it's
gosh.
just so perfectly done, man.
It was amazing. Amazing.
And that's the thing, like in any of the other movies,
Mm-hmm.
and this is not spoiling anything, but I am going to talk about 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
In any of the other movies, you pretty much want people to say Candyman 5 times.
Right.
Because
yes.
you want to see what Candyman's going to do. You want to see. In this movie, I was honestly like apprehensive after the first kill, which was in the museum.
Yes.
The museum owner, Clive, and his intern.
Nice shout out to Clive Barker.
Yeah. They did name him Clive as an homage.
Nice.
That scene, after that scene, I was so apprehensive. I did
Yes.
not want people to say Candyman's name because it was just so. It was actually a little bit scary, and it was gruesome, and even a scene like in the bathroom with the 4 girls.
Yeah.
Even in that scene, I was like hugging my pillow. I was like, "Oh God, don't do it!" And it was just so good,
Yes.
Dang it.
Agreed.
so good.
Yeah. Every kill in it was they were all gruesome. All of them.
All of them.
Everyone.
Yeah,
Yep.
every single one was just really well done.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And then the bees. So
Mhm.
this is the only thing I'm not sure of.
Okay.
All the other movies talk about the bee handling and stuff, and I'm sure that there were real bees in this, but there was nothing in the bonus features about the bees.
Mm-hmm.
But I also know a lot of the bees were also digital, but
Right.
really well done.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the thing. The bees in this movie were scary.
Yeah.
Like they were the type of bees basically in 2020 when they were talking about murder hornets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like these bees were kind of like that.
Totally.
Like I did not want to be around any of these bees. Whereas in the original Candyman, they were the cute little fuzzy bees.
Mm-hmm.
There was just a lot of them.
Right.
But these bees were formidable bees.
Yes. They looked like hornets. They looked scary.
Yeah. Mm.
Ugh.
Ugh.
This movie's
And
so good.
that leads to the part at the end that I loved,
Yeah.
where the bees were surrounding Candyman's face.
Mm-hmm.
And that was where I got the whole interpretation that Candyman was however you saw him.
Nice.
But he was originally Daniel Robitaille.
Well, I love that. I love that.
And there's another thing I love. I love that. Okay, so this was a spiritual sequel to the very first movie.
Right.
A lot of people say that it ignores the second and third movie, basically. But Candyman wasn't named until the second movie. So I do like that they still went with Daniel Robitaille as the name of the original Candyman.
Totally true. I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, it was the first thing I thought of. I was like, I wonder if they're going to call him Daniel Robitaille, because that wasn't acknowledged until the second movie at the very
Nice.
beginning.
You're right. Ooh.
Thank you.
I love that. Yeah. Well, and there definitely was an homage to 3 in this one with having a mirror in the museum, in an art museum. I was like, I love that.
Okay, so let's talk about the art.
Yes.
I mean, we're going to talk about a lot of things, but
Yeah, we are.
I thought the art was fantastic.
Yeah.
They were actual art pieces that I thought were really effective. Even, especially the Candyman piece, Say My Name.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Where you're sitting there looking at a mirror, you open it up, and you see a room behind the mirror with these images, like police beating up a black man.
Right.
And images like that are hidden behind the mirror. And I like what they said in the bonus features, where the whole point of that piece of art is that you look at these images and then you close the door again,
Mm-hmm.
and you're looking at your own reflection.
Yep.
And I love the symbolism of that.
Absolutely.
I loved his, when after he starts to go off the deep end,
Mm-hmm.
the paintings he's making of the different Candyman faces.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a whole bonus
Haunting.
feature on the paintings in with the movie.
Oh, nice.
And I don't know, which ones did you watch?
I just watched the one that you just talked about the mirror, where they talk about.
Okay, I think that was the one about the paintings, about the art in the movie.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yep. You're right. Yep. And then.
So
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, I'll be honest.
Mhm.
I didn't realize that one of those paintings was Tony Todd's Candyman.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't catch that.
Yep.
And the other thing that I didn't catch, which I loved,
Mm-hmm.
Mary, my girlfriend, caught it.
Nice.
The whole idea of not forgetting the names of these victims.
Right.
And the parallels between that and the real life victims of police brutality
Yeah.
and racial injustice. I really like that was the idea.
Yes.
Like, don't forget the names of any of these men, these people who have become Candyman, who have become this urban myth.
Right.
Don't forget Daniel Robitaille's name. Don't forget Sherman Field's name.
Right.
Whew. Yeah. Chills.
Yeah. Yeah. This movie. Yeah.
So that's and all that art, like, it was real. It was real art by somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And I would honestly put one of them up on my wall because they were beautiful.
They were but they were, like, no joke. All of them at the end, the ones that you see at the end of all the Candymans, they were really haunting. They were very eerie, but still very beautiful.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I can't say enough good.
The shadow puppetry.
One of my favorite things.
So it was, again, just another decision in this movie to tell the different stories, the different backgrounds.
Yes.
Through shadow puppetry.
Mm-hmm.
And they hired an actual group that does this for a living. And it was just, every single one.
Yeah.
It makes the movie itself so rewatchable because of the different shadow puppets. And I love how you get these stories told throughout the movie, and then during the final credits, it tells the stories of all the different Candymen.
Yes. Yep.
Including Anthony McCoy.
Yes.
So.
And what's So what's funny is that the ending puppet show during the credits, there was like another version of it that I had seen a while ago when I first heard remember, if you remember, I think one of these podcasts I mentioned that I heard the music box, Helen's theme.
Yeah.
And I found this video for this movie, and it was before we'd done these. I didn't really know Candyman, but I saw that video, and it's the credits minus parts of the credits, or else it would spoil the movie. So there was chunks definitely taken out of it, but it was this shadow puppet show, sort of all the victims with that music. And I just remember watching it and just being like, this is haunting. I mean, this is something... I've never seen anything like this. And then, now seeing it in its full glory at the end of the credits, honestly, I don't even know how to describe it. I've never seen anything like it. It is haunting. It is... I can't think of any other better words. I really can't.
Right.
You'd have to see it. You just need to see it.
So I think, what else have we not touched on yet?
I'm looking through my stuff. Oh yeah, okay.
I mean, everything else I have are like more specific. Like those were like my general.
Oh, okay.
Likes in the movie.
I'm just going through kind of general.
So as far as like specific things,
mm-hmm.
I'll let you start us off.
Oh man. Well, there. All right. All right. I'm going through right now because, like I said, I've quite the list. One of the things, the first shot of Sherman that we see when he comes out of the wall. No, I'm sorry. We see him as a reflection in the glass door.
He moves.
He moves. Yes, I thought was such a great foreshadow. It's like, that obviously we're gonna have, mirror stuff. It's Candyman. Loved that shot. And I loved him coming out of the hole in the ground, in the wall, in the laundry area of Cabrini Green. I thought that was so cool and so creepy. But the actor, I gotta look him up because I want to give him credit too, who played Sherman.
Michael Hargrove.
Thank you, Michael Hargrove, who doesn't have he doesn't have a line in this movie. But played that part so well as just because you can tell, even right then I knew that he wasn't a bad guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He had just these gentle eyes, and the way he presented himself, you could tell that there was something maybe mentally, maybe he wasn't there or mentally handicapped in some way. But that was it. He was gentle. He was just, you could tell that just by his look.
But it could be misinterpreted too, and that's
true.
The thing. That was the whole thing about that scene that I also loved. Like, it was ambiguous.
You're right.
You don't know until later that that kid was actually seeing a real person who was hiding in the walls of this apartment complex.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if actual Candyman had come out of the wall to kill that kid.
Right. Yep. You're right.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. What is misinterpreted as murderous intent is actually just kind of a simple-minded guy who just wants to give candy to the kids.
Right.
And he just happens to have a little hook for a hand.
Yep. Exactly.
So.
Yeah. I love that intro. I love that opening. It was dark, obviously, but it was just, it sets up the film. It does. Everything in this movie.
And then there's the part of it that's open to interpretation too. It's like, why did he dress like that? Why did he? Because Candyman was a known urban myth at Cabrini Green.
That's true, yeah.
Assumedly. So did this guy hear about Daniel Robitaille, Candyman, and just kind of take on the persona? Was he haunted by Candyman? You don't know. And
You're right.
It's awesome things to think about with this movie.
You're right. That's a totally different discussion. My gosh.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So, see this movie. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, this podcast is going to go a little long.
Yep.
And that's okay.
That's fine. I'm good with it. This movie deserves it. We're okay with that. Let's see. I already mentioned how I love the the mirror in the art gallery, it just reminded me of Day of the Dead, which
I thought the intern was hilariously pretentious.
Yes.
When they're closing down and everything she says, she's just talking in Joy Division song titles. Everything until they get to the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's just answering him in Joy Division song titles, and he's like, "Yeah, we get it. You like Joy Division."
Yeah. Yeah.
I liked. I think was it during that scene that I think it's during that scene that Anthony is looking in the mirror, and he sees the bee.
Yep. Yeah.
And the bee's on the other side of the glass.
That was awesome.
I love that.
Yep.
Obviously, so well done, but the father's suicide.
Yes.
Brianna's father's suicide is just so heartbreaking, but also just so well done.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. I enjoyed that scene for what it was, not for what it did.
That's exactly the words I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's not an enjoyable scene, but
right.
the way that it was done was really good.
Yep. Totally.
And his line that he says before he jumps.
Oh, man.
Did I ever tell you that I could fly?
It's dark, man.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
It's heartbreaking.
Yep.
The elevator scene with Anthony in the elevator.
No. Yep. Oh my gosh.
And everything, like that's another thing I love about this movie. Everything to me is just so perfect. Like that elevator scene when it opens up and he's in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way he reacts to all these students seeing him cowering in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't over the top. It's just like, yeah, okay. I'm just, he's embarrassed. You can tell, but he's not going to show it.
Right.
I don't know. It's just the way he walks out of the elevator. Like, it's little things like that that I love about this movie so much.
It was more realistic.
Yeah.
Because I would do that same thing if I saw something freaky and there's people there. I'd probably act tougher.
You'd act normal.
Yeah,
but he
like
didn't
normal,
act
yeah.
too tough.
Right,
Like,
you're
that's
right.
The thing.
You're right.
He didn't try and overcompensate by acting super tough. He just got up. He's like, okay, I'm walking out of this elevator like nothing happened.
Right. Yes, you're exactly right. Yep.
Another note I have.
Mm-hmm.
He's listening to Helen talk
Yes.
about some stuff that was actually stuff recorded by Virginia Madsen for the movie. And she's talking about Ruthie Jean. And I had to look that up because I recognized the name, and it was somebody they talked about in the first movie.
Uh-huh. Yep.
The crazy thing is that Ruthie Jean, the story in the movie is that she kept hearing noises coming from her bathroom medicine cabinet.
Right.
And somebody came in and murdered her.
Right.
Through the mirror. And in the first movie, there's the whole thing about how that was a shortcut that they made at Cabrini Green, where there was actually the apartments were connected by the bathroom mirrors.
Right.
There was actually a actual murder in real life. A woman named Ruthie May.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And that's an actual story. I didn't know that when I saw the first movie, but when I looked it up this time, I read about it, and it actually happened. Like somebody came through a hole in the wall, and the story about the apartments being connected like that was true.
Oh my gosh, that's freaky. Wow. That's horrifying.
Yeah.
Ooh,
What else you got? What's your next note?
Well, so I had seen the image from Clive Barker's book.
Yes. Weave World. Wait.
Oh,
Is that what
that.
you're
You're right.
talking about?
Nope, not that. However, that was a
Okay,
cool
okay.
little Easter egg. No, the books of the Book of Blood.
Okay.
It's called. And the Forbidden. So there's the image. I had seen the picture just because we had talked about this, and I Googled it. But there's an image of sort of the chapter, or the story, The Forbidden, and it's Candyman kind of shadowed, but he almost looks like a monster.
Right.
when Anthony goes to Cabrini Green, he's taking pictures.
Mm-hmm.
There's a shadow, or not a shadow, excuse me. There's a graffiti art that looks very much like that chapter of Candyman.
Nice.
And I was like, I'm assuming they put that in there for that, but
I did not notice that.
yeah, I saw it and I was like, that looks just like the picture. And then I Googled it later, the picture, and I was like, it's too close to not be a coincidence.
And another piece of graffiti that I noticed that is very different. It was weird. There was a number 4 in a circle in the apartment that looked like the Fantastic Four symbol, which made me look up. I was like, wait, is Nia DaCosta, who by the way, we haven't mentioned a single word. We haven't mentioned her name at all.
No.
Nia DaCosta is an incredible director.
Yeah, I know exactly where you're going with this, but yeah, she's fantastic. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I was wondering, is she maybe in the running to direct Fantastic Four? But looking it up, I think she's doing The Marvels.
Yeah, she is. Working again with
Teyonah Parris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Oh.
It's going to be
Love it.
awesome.
So that was a piece of graffiti I noticed.
I didn't even catch that. That's a good eye, man.
You
know, I did think of one other thing, a general piece that I liked. So we've talked cinematography, directing, music, acting, all that. The makeup. Makeup in this movie. Holy macaroni.
Yeah, especially Anthony's hand.
Yes.
His whole body getting corrupted by the bee sting.
Yep. Oh, they did a great job on that. And it really was kind of that body horror. It's body horror, if that's something that makes you uneasy. They did a wonderful job in this movie.
We could go scene by scene and just talk about the perfection of each scene.
Right.
I mean, there's the architecture, like when he goes to the art critic's apartment.
Yes.
And he's just walking in the hallway, and it's that circular hallway.
Yep.
Freaking brilliant.
Yeah, it really is.
The scene inside the apartment where he's looking in the mirror and he sees Sherman Fields as his reflection.
Oh, so cool.
The other one I want to mention is the return of Vanessa Williams as Anne-Marie, because obviously we find out that Anthony McCoy is the baby from the first movie.
Yes, sir.
But first of all, she looked fantastic.
I have that same note. I was like, did she age at all?
Right. Yeah, not at all.
No.
That movie, Candyman 1 must have been made 10 years ago, not 30.
Yeah.
But also, one of my favorite moments in the movie is where he starts to say the word Candyman, and the way she shushes him.
Yes.
I just love that reaction.
Yep.
It's just one single moment, but she does it so perfectly.
There's so much behind her reaction. So much.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you. It was brilliant. Brilliant.
That's all I've got written down. The only other thing I want to talk about myself is just the parallels between Candyman. I mean, there's the obvious, as soon as you see the fate of Sherman Fields.
Yes.
In the past, it's obvious what this movie is saying, and it's obvious the message of this movie and how it's shedding even more light to the injustices inflicted on black people by white people.
Absolutely.
And especially police brutality.
Mm-hmm.
And we see that at the end where they just walk in and shoot Anthony, even though he's lying in her lap, defenseless, and they shoot him because he's the man with the hook for a hand.
Yeah.
And then when she gets into the police car and the captain or whoever gets into the car and tells her the story that she needs to tell them.
Right.
Or else they can talk about a story where she was his accomplice and all that. So which would she rather have? And it's so frustrating because it actually happens.
Yeah, it really
and
does.
it's, yeah. So I'm not going to get too political here, but I really did appreciate that parallel to real life and what's been
Absolutely.
going on in the last couple years, or even before.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
what's been really brought to the forefront in the last couple years.
Agreed. Absolutely.
So I do appreciate all that.
I completely agree. Completely. Well, and that's why I enjoyed the line at the end, I should say, where Tony Todd says, "Tell everyone."
Yeah.
Where it's not just tell everyone about Candyman. It's, again, putting that in the real world and saying, tell everyone about what's happening. Tell everyone about this injustice that's going on. And
don't let people forget.
exactly. Don't let people forget. So, yep, I really appreciated that line, I should say.
Yeah. And it made me think of, weirdly enough, it made me think of Karamo on Queer Eye.
Oh, right on.
In the last season, he's been wearing T-shirts that say different, very very strong statements, and one of his shirts says, say their names, something like that. It says say their names, and it has, Breonna Taylor, and all these people that were killed by police.
Right.
So yeah, I like that the movie has that same message.
Absolutely. Yep.
Don't forget all their names, and don't forget what's happened.
Yep.
Continue to tell the story. That was going to be my last point, but I did I have one more, and it's more
please.
visceral.
Yeah.
The hook.
Yeah.
Like, especially after last week when you were disappointed in the hook in Candyman Day of the Dead. The hook in this one was the scariest hook of all 4 movies. And it just went, like, it's almost as if they heard the comments that we had about hooks.
Yes.
About the different hooks in the movies. And we're like, well, here you go. Because we also commented, I don't know if we commented or if I saw somebody else comment about, the different ways that Candyman killed people in the first 3 movies.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like, could the hook really do that?
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But the hook in this movie, you actually believed that everything that Candyman did with that hook is actually what could be done with the hook that he had.
Agreed.
It was a very scary hook.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
What else do you have? I think that's about it for me for now until our 3 questions. But do you have anything else?
I think the next things that I wanted to discuss were some of the kills. So, which would lead us to our 3 questions. So, yeah, I don't have any more.
Let's do our 3 questions.
Perfect.
Who would cross the bridge of death must answer me these questions 3.
Scotty.
Yeah.
3 questions. Here we
3
go.
questions. The
very first question. What was your favorite death/kill in Candyman 2021? And there's a few in this movie, man.
Yeah, and I'm not going to say all of them because that would be a very easy answer.
Yes.
Because they were all super well done.
Yes. Yep.
But the kill that affected me the most was the art critic.
Yep.
And I purposely did not mention that in the body of the podcast because I was saving it for this, and maybe you caught on to that.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that you don't know for sure whether she said his name in the mirror.
Yes.
And then the camera goes to outside the apartment as Anthony leaves her apartment. Yes. And then she walks out like, where did you go? And for a second, you think, oh, she didn't say his name.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's thrown against the glass.
Yes.
By an invisible something. Mm-hmm. Which, again, I love how you never see Candyman in real life, only in reflections. But
yes.
Yeah, the way she's just thrown against the glass and scraped across it and leaves the trail of blood on the glass.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so violent. And also, like, it's just so creepily done. The camera's just panning back. It's not even focusing on her.
Right.
But that's where your eyes are focused. But if you want, you can look away.
Mm-hmm.
You can look at the rest of the apartment complex. You can look at all the other neighbors and stuff going about their lives while she's getting destroyed by Candyman.
Yeah.
That was my favorite.
It was brilliant. However, mine is different. And it really was a toss-up between that one and what I picked, because that one was so horrifying.
I'm glad, because we get to talk about two then.
Yes. Yeah, really, it was like a coin toss. But we don't really technically see the death, but I'm still counting it. And that would be our very first deaths, besides Sherman, in the movie, which is the art dealer, Clive, and the intern. The reason I say, because the last time, we see Clive lifted up, and then, of course, we don't quite see the kill.
Yeah.
But him and the intern, the shots of Sherman in the mirrors and us first seeing that new kind of version of Candyman where he's only in the mirrors was so well done. I thought it was so scary. That whole scene is one of my favorite scenes I've seen in a horror movie. In any movie, period. It's so well done and so creepy and so brilliant. And
there's subtleties to it.
You're right. You're absolutely
right. Because when Clive tries to leave and the door's locked, and then Candyman slices his Achilles tendon.
Yep.
But you see Candyman in the reflection of the window.
Yes.
When it happens. It's very subtle, but he's there. And then you see him in the reflection as he's carrying Clive through the art,
Yeah. And I love
place.
like you said,
What do
there
you
was
call it? Art studio?
Art studio, yeah.
Maybe.
Art. Yeah, that works. Show. I don't know. We're not artists. But I love too, right before he kills the intern, like they had just said Candyman 5 times, and you just barely see his shoulder. Candyman's shoulder, like in the back behind the mirror. All those subtle shots were so good in this movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
and it's right up there. But man, that bathroom murder scene where Candyman kills the girls. Like, first of all, I appreciate. So, okay, two more things that I appreciated in this movie. The one girl in the bathroom where when the window opens, she's like, "Nope, I'm not doing this," and she leaves.
Yes. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And then also Brianna, when she goes to the laundromat and she opens the door and there's the steps going down.
Yes.
And she's like, "Nope," and she closes the door. I was like, "Yes."
Yep.
Nobody in their right mind would go down their stairs.
Yes. Agreed.
So good.
Yeah.
But yes, the bathroom death scene, we have to talk about that too.
Yes.
First of all, the way when the girl, I love the way the one girl goes over to the mirror. She's like, "Oh, no, nothing's going to happen."
Right.
And she goes over, and obviously she's getting killed.
Mm-hmm.
I love how the other girl doesn't walk over to the mirrors to see what happens. She looks under the stalls.
Yes.
Because she's too scared to go further into the bathroom.
Absolutely. Yep.
And the way that sheet of blood just starts to pour down like freaking like melted apple candy.
Yeah. Yep.
It was so good.
Yeah.
And then when you see what's happening, but you only see it through the little makeup mirror on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also heartbreaking.
Right.
That scene. Because you know what the outcome is going to be. That black girl who comes into the bathroom yet again.
Yes.
Is going to be the victim of injustice, because obviously, I mean, who's gonna believe that an invisible Candyman killed these other girls? You know,
Exactly.
She's the only girl, and she's locked in the bathroom, so there's no other explanation, and she's going to be punished for it. And I hated that for her.
Me too. My initial thought was actually, man, if they do a sequel, I could see it being her. I totally thought that same thing. Of course she's going to get blamed for this. Of course.
I also like the way Candyman floated.
Yes. Yeah.
In the death scenes.
Yes.
Like, that was so creepy.
Yep.
But going back to the sequel, I think if they do a sequel, I honestly think Anthony McCoy would be the new Candyman.
Right. Yep. I agree.
But
I
who knows?
agree.
Who knows?
Hey, I'm game.
Yeah. Question number 2.
Question number 2. Was it scary, Scotty?
I'd say yes. I'd say there are a lot of scary moments in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think Candyman is done in a very scary manner.
Yes.
It's not a movie that sits with me. Like, I keep thinking about it after it's over, but it doesn't scare me after the movie is over.
Fair
basically.
enough. Yep.
It's not, it's not the type of movie that I'm going to lose sleep over.
Right.
But while I'm watching it, yes, I was very tense.
Yes.
I was more tense than I thought during that bathroom scene.
Yes, absolutely.
What about you?
The same. Yep. I won't lose sleep over this one, but it definitely agreed. It was very tense. And like you said at the beginning, and I think the same thing, I didn't want people to say Candyman's name.
Yeah.
Because I knew it was coming, and it wasn't. It wasn't
like, I hate to use our word, but it wasn't fun.
right. Yeah, exactly.
You know, it was scary.
Yes.
Knowing what Candyman might do.
Absolutely. So I agree. And then I think we know the answer to this, but Scotty, did you have fun with horror?
Of course, yeah. I mean, like I said, one of my favorite horror movies of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, probably my favorite horror movie that we've covered so far. I mean, I'd have to look over my list, but I'm pretty sure I like this most. Like, I think every other movie I could find something I didn't really care for, but this movie, I can't think of a single thing.
Yep.
I thought it was, to me, in my opinion, it was a perfect movie. And I could watch it again and again.
I agree with you 100%. Period.
Yay.
Yep.
Yay.
Yeah. Yay.
Tell everyone.
So I got to say, Andrew,
Uh-huh.
I'm torn right now
Okay.
because I'm kind of sad that our Candyman series is over.
Me too.
And I wonder if other podcasts that do a series of movies like this,
Mm-hmm.
which we've talked about, not going to be easy for us to do.
Right. Yes.
But when a podcast does a retrospective of a full movie series, I wonder if they feel a little bit of sadness when they get to the final movie and it's over.
I would think so. I for sure would think that because you're with these characters for quite some time, and then to be
Yeah.
yeah, I totally get that. So I think so.
Like, I feel like a kinship with Tony Todd right now because
yes.
we've been through all these movies with him, and then the way Candyman 2021 ended with his face, which, again, maybe one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And a perfect ending.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm a little sad that we're done. But I'm also excited because I have no idea, like honestly no clue what you're going to pick.
I know.
So let's go on. We went a little bit long with this episode, which is fine because this movie deserved to be talked about. But without further ado, Andrew, tell us what our next movie is.
So, you actually recently told me about this movie. Very recently.
Did I?
Mm-hmm. And I was like, you know what? That's a good segue to leave this world. So I decided to jump back, not too far, but jump back to 2008, where we could continue our journey of Clive Barker as we exit out. So I picked The Midnight Meat Train.
Oh, my
2008.
goodness. I am so happy you picked it.
Yeah? I
totally forgot that I mentioned it in the first Candyman episode.
Yeah. And I wanted something. We got to ease our way out of this Clive Barker universe. And before we jump in, maybe another day. So I wanted something to get us out of it smoothly.
So you did not want to pick Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
I did. Boy, what a 180 from Candyman 2021. Whew. No. That would have been amazing. No,
No,
I wanted
so-
this.
It's shocking. You know who's in the movie, right?
I do. Yeah.
Bradley Cooper
Yeah.
and Vinnie Jones.
Yep.
Yeah, so I saw this movie a while back.
Mm-hmm.
I've only seen it once.
Oh, okay.
So, and then I think it was last year. It was either last year, or I think the beginning of 2021 or the end of 2020. I reread Clive Barker's first Books of Blood, which is where the Midnight Meat Train is in.
Oh, cool.
And after reading it, I had this urge to rewatch that movie, and I never got around to it.
Ah, nice.
So
okay.
I'm very happy that I didn't, and that I get to see it for the second time, with you
nice.
for the podcast. So that's a great choice, man.
Thanks, buddy. And just for everyone listening, if you want to watch it, you can, of course, rent it, Apple, Amazon. However, it's free on, everything. So if you have
Oh, it is?
a Roku...
What is everything, Andrew?
well, a lot of things. This is the first time I've seen this many on for free.
Shudder?
Not Shudder, actually.
Oh, so not everything.
Well, I mean, you don't even... Okay, here we go. It's free on the Roku
Okay.
channel if you have a Roku. It's free on the Vudu network, Tubi, Redbox, the Redbox streaming, Pluto TV, and Plex. It's all free.
Okay.
So if you have
Wow.
those, or if you don't want, obviously commercials, you can rent it for $3.99 on Apple, Amazon, etc. So
Did you say it's available for free on Prime Video?
it's not.
Oh, so not everything. Okay, got it.
No, I meant
Got it.
free. It's just on a lot. Such a snot. But I like you.
I like you.
Oh
All
my
right,
gosh.
Well,
Wait,
everybody,
really?
this was what?
I gotta say something really quick.
Please do.
Just now, so I have my phone up looking at them, and behind me is a window,
Mm-hmm.
and I just saw the reflection. It was just a tree, but in the phone was the reflection right behind me of outside, and just a tree sitting there, and it scared me because we just talked about Candyman, dude.
And we talked about it not being scary after it's over, but look at you.
I guess it
Look at
is.
you.
Look at me. Anyway,
Did you
sorry.
say his name 5 times, Andrew? Is that what you did?
Heck no, I'm not inviting stuff like that in my house. Mm-mm.
Oh, this is the other thing I'm going to add.
Yeah,
This is about
please.
Candyman.
Okay.
So Midnight Meat Train is our next movie. But before we go,
Uh-huh.
I did want to say one last thing about Candyman.
Please.
As we were watching the other 3 movies, I thought I had no idea what the new one was about.
Oh, yeah.
Stayed away from trailers. Didn't really know. And I thought, man, in this day and age, what would actually happen if somebody found out that if you said Candyman's name 5 times in a reflection or a mirror,
Mm-hmm.
it would be a freaking challenge on TikTok.
Oh, totally.
And I thought that would be an interesting idea for a movie. If all of a sudden all these kids, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to say any adjectives, but all these kids that do these stupid challenges on TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
what if they found out about this and over a single day, thousands of these kids were like, hey, look at me. I'm going to say his name 5 times in the mirror. Watch this. And then all of a sudden you just see all these kids being murdered by Candyman
Oh, my gosh.
all over the place.
Dude.
And thousands of kids, thousands of people die in a single day because they all said Candyman's name 5 times for a challenge.
Oh, my gosh.
And the aftermath of what that is. That would be an interesting story to me.
That would be really cool.
Man, the other thing I meant to say,
Yeah,
I'm
please.
still going on about Candyman.
No, I know. I cut us off earlier, so please.
The other thing I want to say is another thing I love about this movie and what I found out is that, I think I mentioned in the first Candyman podcast that
Mhm.
Bernard, the studio pushed back against having a black man as Candyman
Right, yes. yeah,
because
you-
they were worried about making a black man the villain.
Right.
But what ended up happening is that the black community, Jordan Peele talks about this. I think Nia DaCosta also talks about this. They embraced Candyman. They said, we now have our own horror icon
Oh, cool.
in Candyman. So he became a part of the black community as a horror icon. And I absolutely love how a bunch of white executives at a studio were so scared of Tony Todd as Candyman having this effect on people when it had the opposite effect.
Totally.
I love that.
That's awesome.
So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you for listening to Fun with Horror.
Perfect.
I hope everybody's still listening. I hope everybody got this far, because those were some cool points that I wanted to make, and
Yeah,
I'm patting
dude.
myself on the back a little bit for them. But
If I was there, I'd pat your back.
thank you.
You're welcome.
And then you wouldn't stop, and I'd be like, Andrew, you're still doing it.
You need to go back home, man.
And then then you start going, you're so pretty.
Why don't you like me?
Pat, 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 pat. All right. Well, that's it. That's it.
That's it.
Everybody watch the Midnight Meat Train, and join us next week for our discussion for it. We are on all the social medias. Find us on Facebook. We've gotten an influx of new members that I love.
Yeah.
We're on Twitter at FunWHorror. We're on Instagram, the Fun with Horror Podcast. Just do a search. We're all there. And as always, if you want to drop us an email, it's funwithhorrorpodcast@gmail.com.
Perfect.
So until then, Andrew,
Scotty.
Andrew,
Scotty.
Andrew,
Scotty.
Andrew,
Scotty.
Andrew,
Scotty.
and you did not appear in my apartment. Damn it. Okay. I love you, buddy.
I love you too, man. As always, this was great.
And we love everybody out there. Thank you for listening.
Yes, we love you all. Thank you.
And goodbye.
Bye.
Candyman.
Anthony.
Candyman.
Anthony, no.
Candyman.
Stop.
Stop it. Candyman.
Stop it.
Okay.
You better not.
Okay. Candyman.